Hey folks, Gway. This morning I want to tell you about something that one of you sent me a comment on yesterday. It's about a school in Florida, Trinity Christian Academy in Florida, decided that, or their pastor decided for them, but they went along with it, so they're complicit. But the pastor of that school decided that they needed to be rid of their Autism Awareness Week because it was somehow idolatrous and I believe demonic. Idolatrous and demonic. Now, the pastor, and I think I got to use that term kind of loosely here, he compared it to creating symbols like Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny. The school, by the way, also canceled their Easter egg hunt this year. I suspect because it was somehow demonic as well. Apparently demons hide in the eggs. I don't know. Anyway, he figured the events of Autism Awareness Week somehow encouraged students to prioritize other identities beyond their identity as Christians. And this, for him, was completely unacceptable. Completely unacceptable. And I can understand the premise. As Christians, we take on no other identity. So for this gentleman, I'm sure that when it comes to the 4th of July, we do not celebrate the 4th of July because we don't celebrate our National Independence Day because we don't celebrate holidays that remind us of where we come from. Festivals of who our ancestors were, because all that would be idolatry. He's confusing understanding who you are with the God you serve. He's confusing his understanding of how you were made with what God you serve. Now, he does, in the interview that I read, he offers a question that I thought was really quite fascinating. He says, if Jesus Christ led Trinity, that's the name of the school, would he have an Autism Awareness Week? Of course not, the pastor says. Why? Because anything that exalts itself above the name of Christ should be brought down. That's pretty problematic in itself. His answer is pretty problematic in itself. I can't imagine Jesus. I can't imagine Jesus having an ego so fragile that these holidays and festivals and these weeks of remembrance and awareness would need to be brought down because you're raising them above my name. And by the way, Christ isn't a name. It's actually a label. But anyway, the question here, though, I think is really fascinating, and I think the question here is really fascinating, and that we need to address it here. The question being, if Jesus Christ led Trinity, would he have an Autism Awareness Week? Oh, yes. Absolutely. I don't know how you read the Bible. I don't know how you read the Gospels and could possibly answer this question in the negative. If Jesus Christ led Trinity, would he have an Autism Awareness Week? Oh, yeah. Jesus' ministry, pretty much from start to finish, was about raising awareness. He was always asking his disciples, anybody who was listening to him, they were being told that they should be looking around at the others in their community, that they should be aware of the plight of the people in their community, that they should be aware of what others in their community go through. They should be aware of that there were others in their community who are being persecuted, who are being ostracized, who are being isolated, who are being mistreated. He talks about the poor. He talks about the beggars, right? Those are others. Those are people who are living lives that are different than our own. Those are people who are been afflicted by something that we should be aware of. Those are people who have something going on in their life that they're, not responsible for, that we should be aware of so that we can help to meet their needs a little bit better. Jesus was all about showing us the different people we'll encounter and challenging us, calling us to see them as his children, to see them as people created in the image of God. This is such a key element of his ministry. And it's such a big part of our call. We're supposed to transcend the invisible lines that we've created around ourselves, the twinship we look for, the tribalism that makes us feel so comfortable. It's easy for human beings to fall into the trap where people who look just like us, sound just like us, act just like us, that we're a safe group. And he says, no. There's people outside that group and they matter too. And there's people outside that group and they need you too. And there's people outside that group and God created them as well. We are one group. So these lines that you've created, this comfortable zone that you have for yourself, no, it's got to go. It's got to go, and you've got to be aware of who all these other people are. And when, for example, when you get into this place where you're aware of them, but now you're uncomfortable with them, then you're aware that you have an issue. And with that awareness, then you grow, right? And you push beyond the issue. You resolve the issue so that you can welcome them in close to you, knowing full well that in God's eyes, they're just like you. These awareness weeks, they're not about convincing somebody that they are something that they're not. And they're certainly not about trying to steal you away from Jesus. These awareness weeks, I think, especially in the context of a Christian school, these awareness weeks are about helping Christians become more aware of their classmates, become more aware of the people around them so that they can grow increasingly compassionate and empathetic towards them, so that the relationships can grow strong between them, so that these students, all of them, can grow closer and closer and closer into the image of Jesus Christ. That their compassion would grow, that their love would grow, that their understanding would grow, that their courage would grow. When I first read this story, and I'll include a link to one of the stories in the comments, if I remember. If I don't remember, please remind me, and I'll post it. When I first read this story, it reminded me of that gospel story, where people are bringing their children to meet Jesus. All that, but children at that time, they weren't seen the same way as we see children today. They weren't received the same way as we receive children today. And so the disciples were not into having these children come crashing onto Jesus. And Jesus responds, "Oh no, let them come. Let them come, for such as these. These are the ones who the kingdom's meant for." As a matter of fact, he goes on to say, you need to be like these kids. You need to be like these children in order to truly embrace what it is that God's calling you to. As far as I can tell, this pastor, in his zest for Jesus and his zeal for Jesus, he's taking away the language of love here. He's taking away an opportunity for the students of this school to learn about one another, to grow closer to one another. For you and I, please don't ever stop trying to become increasingly aware of the others around you. Let your courage grow. Let your confidence grow. Let your curiosity run rampant. Seek to learn more about the people around you. Seek to understand them. Seek to understand where they come from. Seek to understand where it is they want to go. Seek to understand what it was that has helped them become the people that they are. All of this is good. All of this is Christ-like. All of this, I believe, all of this is an appropriate response to Jesus' call that we should love our neighbors as ourselves. Awareness is not something to be afraid of. A week of awareness, a week of appreciation is not something for us to be afraid of. It's something for us to gravitate towards and to embrace and to appreciate. We're to see the gift in that. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord's face be made to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord's countenance be lifted up to you. May you always know the peace of being in the Lord's presence. And I pray we'll do just that. Right? I pray we will do just that, that we will embrace the opportunities that are given to us to learn about our neighbors, to see what makes our neighbors tick, to appreciate how our neighbors have come to be. Because when we embrace those opportunities, we get to see a little more clearly, how God sees them. We get to see them in a light that reminds us of how truly precious they are, and that they too, like ourselves, are created in God's image. Amen. Nemultus.